Hello, everyone. I'm Lynn with Run It Back, and we have another exciting interview for you today. We have Native Gaming White here, and they're one of the newest teams in the scene, but we're going to get a chance to meet them all and get a chance to hear their story. So, Native Gaming White, thank you for coming and welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Rifu. I am the coach and team manager for the team.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Shelby, also known as Apadays. I'm the IGL and team captain for Native Gaming White.
I'm Slays. I'm a gamer for a native. Bye.
Hello, I'm Luna, otherwise known as Luna Fox. I am the Smokes and Initiator Flex for Native Gaming. And with us, or not with us today, our other two teammates, Ari, she is also kind of like one of our main flexes. Flexes around every role, Ari Anarchist. And then we have Scourge, who is our primary duelist, who pretty much just plays every duelist under the sun.
Awesome. So, I mean, with your team being full of flexes, how do you kind of make the decisions who plays what map? Is it just a feeling, or how do you kind of go about the flex nature of your team?
Luna, do you want to answer that one?
I'll take that one, yeah. It's kind of partially like feeling it out and kind of where our strengths lie as players per map. So, say one map, maybe somebody's more comfortable with Astra. So, in that case, like for me, I would be taking that over, and somebody would switch with like the Initiator role, and would have somebody else on, a Breach, a Sky, a Sova, whoever it may be. And we kind of just do that for every map to what feels the most comfortable for our team.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting that you all have the flexibility to do that for the maps. And I'm also interested in hearing the story behind your roster. I was saying it is a fairly new roster, but do you have any particular story about what put you all together?
Yeah, so basically at the end of March, around the end of March, like start of April, I just got a Twitter DM from the org owner, and he asked to have like a business call. Uh, I was pretty good friends with him prior to all of this as well. So we kind of hopped in a call, and he told me that he had just started up the org. It wasn't going to be like any free agent org. It was very legitimate, and he wanted to hop into Valorant and start with creating a FE/NB team to compete in Game Changers. So yeah, we just kind of discussed that, and then he asked me to bring along a coach or manager. So I messaged Rifu, he was down, and then we just started running trials, which ran for like 5 to 6 weeks. I trialed a lot of people, but it just kind of came down to, uh, you know, at this point, it was Luna, Slays, and Ari. Um, and then we ended up picking up Scourge that was probably like a month ago now, I'd like to say. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how the roster came together. So
Okay, interesting. So I didn't know that there was a trials component to your team, and you seem to have some players that have so much experience just in the scene and have been playing for other rosters for a while. How do you think the previous experiences of the players on the team have developed this roster into being so strong?
um I mean, I feel like maybe it's best if everybody like individually speaks on that, because I think everybody's story is a bit different. Like for me, Valorant is my first FPS and keyboard and mouse game. So when I first played in like the very first tournament, which was like 2 years ago now almost, uh, I just was on like it was supposed to be like a content team. So I was just playing with like some girls who just streamed on Twitch and everything. They never really had any interest in like actually competing. But after that, I was like super driven to, want to compete and like get on a team and like scrim and everything like that. And I've been on probably 5 or 6, maybe even 7 different teams. You take something from every single team, whether it be like friendships or learning just a certain agent like a lot more because you have to fit on a certain role. Um, Patience, you learn to have better communication skills. Just a lot of different things. So that's kind of what I've been able to take from all of the teams I've been on.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share about kind of how all of the former experiences on different teams have helped you in this particular roster?
For me, it's kind of helped shape my like my perception and like expectations of the mental game and how that has an impact going from team to team. At least since I've only been on 2 teams total now for Valorant, minus experiences from other games. It's definitely helped shape my way I think in FPS games and in tac shooters such as Valorant. So
For me, I think it's just mostly experience. Is what I gain.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so for Appides, you said it was your first like major esports title. For everyone else, you kind of alluded to this, Luna Fox, but could you kind of explain what your experience was before Valorant and what brought you into Valorant?
my experience is actually quite vast within the world of esports. Played a short time for like Call of Duty, like some small stuff, nothing too major. It was kind of like my intro to esports. Um, and as I started to kind of grow up and get a PC and stuff, I found Counter Strike, which really shaped me as the person and the player I am today. Uh, and that was like one of the major 2. After that, I had a MOBA from Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm. So I've had different experiences with like having to work on different mechanics and like keyboard control, mouse control, and everything like that. And then I had a short stint in Rocket League for collegiate esports. Lasted about like 6 months before I kind of got bored of the game, and I found myself wanting a TAC FPS again. So I found my way back to Valorant.
Okay.
I played COD mostly, like Search and Destroy, as a kid, and then I also played Wagers, like from like 13 to 16, 17. I played H1, a little CS, Fortnite, a lot of games.
Okay. And in terms of, well, actually, Rito, did you want to share as well kind of what your previous experience in esports has been?
Sure. So about when I was 12, I started on the League of Legends train. And from there, I played for about 7, 8 years, going into playing Fortnite and other various FPS. And then, like, I did a season of collegiate Fortnite, which was interesting. And then, right as COVID hit, that's kind of when Valorant all came together. And then I met a few people and got super interested in being into esports and in Valorant. And so now I'm here.
Okay. Well, so all of that collective experience that you've brought from other esports and then just being on other teams as well has brought you together. And one of the first major tournaments we've seen you all in has been the Sakura Cup. And so you were able to pull a win from that tournament. And I'd like to hear from the team any general thoughts about what did that win mean to your team?
I mean, that was like the first, I'd say, like bigger tournament we played in while we were still kind of finalizing things on the roster, figuring out like specific roles, map bans, like our stronger maps, etc. So obviously there was like some nerves going in. You're not too 100% sure like how you're gonna weigh up against other teams. Just a bunch of different stuff. But I feel like we were overall pretty confident going into the tournament, and I mean the win. Obviously, it felt pretty good to pull out a win for that. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if any of us like let it weigh on us too much. We still want bigger things. We kind of let us ourselves be happy about it for the day and maybe the next, and then we just moved on to say we won. It's time to win some other titles and you know make our mark in the GC scene.
I kind of also want to touch on that because that win was kind of big for me personally. Just the elephant in the room, that was against my former team. So there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say rivalry, but more so just kind of like a pseudo revenge arc for me, which felt pretty good to just like get that out of the way, get like an actual series against them in a best of 3, and just be able to show like this is what you're missing out on now. And then be able to hopefully show that in GC and more tournaments as we go on.
Okay, and you did mention Game Changers. It's coming up real soon. What are the general feelings going into Game Changers? It's going to be an even bigger tournament and a bigger stage for you all to try to shine and to get into the playoffs. So, what are the general feelings going into this next tournament?
Rifu, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. So we've been practicing almost every day, actually every day, for some time. After Astral, making sure we fix all the things that we need to and continuously get better, even if it's just very minimum things that we need to fix. And as we go through, we have quickly fixed a lot of our issues that we had that were very small. So in 4 days, we're very excited to see what happens in Game Changers and playing against the best teams that we haven't been able to see in a very long time.
Any other thoughts from anyone about going into Game Changers?
I think we're going to definitely be a team to be reckoned with. People are going to have to look out for us, but they're not going to really know how to deal with us at the same time.
Well, you mentioned going to see some teams that you haven't had a chance to compete with in previous tournaments, and the teams actually look very different than the general audience has seen in the last Game Changers. There's been lots of roster changes, just a lot of movement around in the scene overall. So, what are your thoughts in terms of all of these roster changes and what the scene looks like now compared to just a few months ago?
I think personally, to me, it's like the top got even better. The middle of the pack kind of shifted around. Most people are still like just as good with their roster changes, or if not better. And then kind of like the bottom end of the signed teams, if I'm allowed to say that, kind of fell off even harder, in my opinion. And it's just kind of like a power shift more so for the top teams, like Cloud9 picking up Bob, or Shopify picking up Benita, for 2 really good examples.
Okay, interesting. Anyone else have thoughts about how the scene has shifted over the last few months?
I'd say my only thoughts are really just, since like the beginning, we haven't really seen this many changes all at once. Usually when this stuff happens, it's maybe one team you just see someone drop someone, and another team just drops someone else, and they kind of just do a swap. But yeah, the past like 2 months, just looking at Twitter, just talking to different people and hearing everything, it kind of felt like wow, like another one this week. Oh my gosh, another one this week, and it just like kept happening. But I think that makes me more anticipated to playing Game Changers because it feels like you're playing a bunch of just new teams in like a sense because there has been so many roster changes.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm personally looking forward to seeing it because, as you said, it feels like just a new scene with all of the changes. So for you as a team and maybe also individually, what are your goals coming up for Game Changers and then maybe even after that?
Laser Rifu, you guys want this one?
Please.
I mean, I guess to just be a top team, see how far we can go. Always working, even if we win or lose, always going back to work and trying to become better is the goal.
I would agree.
Yep.
All right. And also, just to get your take on it, because we've talked a lot about the different changes going on with the roster, but there's also changes kind of in the meta and the maps as well. So Split will no longer be, well, for Game Changers, it's going to be in play, but for the future, Split's going to be kind of removed from competitive play. I was curious as to if anyone has any particular thoughts on the map and if anyone has gotten a chance to play Pearl and their thoughts on this swap.
I think I could speak for a lot of people when I say this. Good riddance to Split. Please bring on the Pearl.
I personally, I think I might be like the only person on our team that feels this way, but I really didn't like Split in like a ranked gameplay. I find it's a really hard map to work when you're playing, with 4 people who don't necessarily calm or listen. There's not necessarily teamwork, but in like a competitive sense, I really liked Split. Not a big fan of Fracture. Would have way rather seen that go. I just don't like that map. I wish I could say why, but I just don't enjoy that map as much. But I think Pearl's a really, really good map. It is really interesting for what roles might be played on that. The one thing that is different about that map from any other map I've noticed is the rotations. Uh, there's no really quick rotation on that map. It's the alleys from bomb site to bomb site are just extremely long. So I am interested to see how that plays in competitive, but yeah, no, I'm upset that Split's gone from competitive for sure.
I would say that Pearl is definitely exciting because it goes from Split being all close quarters besides like 1 or 2 peaks and to having where it's a very long corridor, very open courtyard and very close angles. So it's like all together into one. And then I think it'll be very interesting and competitive to see all the different comps because after playing and looking at it, I don't think there will be with just one meta. I think it will completely depend on the team. And they can do double smokes, double sentinel. We'll probably see some no duelist comps when Pearl comes into play.
All right, well, seems like a lot to look forward to, bit of a mixed opinions in terms of the swapping of maps, but yeah, a lot to look forward to. So anyone have any shout outs or plugs they'd like to make?
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm always gonna shout out my family. I mean, they've supported me since the very start. Um, Not knowing as well, really what Valorant is or having much of a understanding of esports, but they still would tune into any like streams if I sent them, or maybe we go out for dinner after winning anything. But very supportive and everything like that. And of course, shout out to my team and our coach and all the staff at Native Gaming, for taking a chance on us and giving us this opportunity to, be the very best we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Big shout out to Native Gaming with like just the entirety. All like Happy Day said. like all the staff, everybody like involved, all my teammates. Huge shout out to them, as well as Rifu, doing a great job as our coach. And then definitely a big shout out to all the people cheering us on and wishing us well and looking forward to seeing us playing, and all the kind messages and the kind cheers in the chat and whatnot that we see from people. It's super, super heartwarming, and I'm super, super thankful for that.
I would shout out my family, shout out Native. Yeah.
I would say shout out to Dean, the owner of Native himself.
True. Big vouch for
Yeah.
Dean.
Big
He
vouch.
is the man.
Range
Dean,
native.
Dean is the man.
Yeah.
Dean is the GOAT.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Native Gaming White, for taking the time to speak with us. It was great to hear your story, and best of luck to you all in the upcoming Game Changers series. Should, like you said, so many fans looking forward to see how far you're able to get in the series. So thank you all for watching as well. Please stay tuned for future interviews from Run It Back. And again, thank you, Native Gaming, for your time today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you so
us.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.